So there are two common ways that most people go about getting in alignment. The first is we set a goal, we identify what we want to experience, and we basically trace the steps backwards. What is going to be the step-by-step path to getting there? So let's say I'm a college student and I want to get a job on Wall Street. The obvious steps are to study economics, get wonderful grades, intern, make connections, fill out job applications, list my experiences, interview, land the job, ta-da. But what about those desires that aren't so straightforward? And even that desire we may even already know it's not so straightforward, right? There are always elements involved in our desire that we can't quite plan our way to. We can't write out a to-do list that'll get it done, right? So that's one method, and it leaves that kind of openness of what if, and it can make us feel a little bit uneasy about the future. Will it happen? Will I actually make a meaningful connection at my internship that may lead to a position upon graduation? Will I find a position that suits me and my interests? Will I find a work environment that suits me and my personality? There's a lot of what ifs, right? Even within that kind of straightforward, logical, to-do list oriented or past, let's look at what people have done in the past. There's still a lot of unknown, even though it feels like a lot of the steps are known. And then there's the second way that people typically go about deliberately creating what they want. And this, you'll usually see this among those of us who are aware that we are energetic beings, and every desire, has a vibration to it. And so how can we shift our own vibration so that we become in alignment with that desire? And the work in this approach is typically to work with the mind and wrestle with the mind until we get our thoughts, our beliefs to match this desire. We want to believe that it's possible, believe that it's happening, and we are often trying to convince ourselves that the doubts that we have, they're baseless or they don't matter. In this approach, we see the destination and we try to vibrationally match the destination from where we are and allow the path to unfold. We aren't so worried about the unknowns because we are tapped into a greater source of knowing, and we're trusting that all will be revealed as we are journeying on the path as long as we are in vibrational alignment. But the sticking point in this approach is that very first step of getting into alignment. And in this approach, we're thinking that the thoughts that we are thinking, we have to kind of form them, force them, and mold them into the vibration of that new car or the vibration of that position that we want upon graduating, right? And so we're kind of hyper focused on our thoughts and trying to control what they're doing. And if you've ever tried to practice this, you know that it can be very difficult. And I want to offer a easier path to alignment. Welcome back to the Deeper Self podcast. This is episode 2, and we're talking about an easier way to get in alignment by accessing the deeper self. So if you've lived enough life, or you've been in a physics class and you know that all matter can be converted back to energy, everything is energy, then you have this foundational belief. Maybe you also got here through your spiritual experiences, but if you have this foundational belief that all of life is energy and everything has its own vibration, and if things are a vibrational match, they are magnetized to each other. And we're not talking about electrons and protons as in negatively charged things attracting each other, but we're talking about the actual action of attraction that's happening, the actual movement of energy that's happening. That is what we mean by when you become a match, there is some type of attractive force that's happening. Something is calling these things together, and that is what we're talking about. So let's say you're the job interviewer of that position on Wall Street, and you have two applicants with essentially the same resume. They've had very similar paths. They've kind of checked all the boxes that they were supposed to. How do you choose who to hire? When all things are the same, typically you may find yourself resorting to a feeling. Something just feels right about this person. They just feel like a good fit. I just get a good feeling about it. Alignment is not about checking all the boxes, and it's not about controlling every single thought that occurs in your mind. Alignment is that good feeling. And that good feeling comes when you are in alignment with your deeper self. That is the alignment that produces the result, that good fit, that good feeling. And so when we talk about getting in alignment, we're not talking about just checking all the boxes. We're not talking about trying to crunch all your thoughts, crunch your brain. We're actually talking about getting in alignment with the deeper self. Now you can go topic by topic, thought by thought, hurt feeling by hurt feeling. You can unpack every painful thought, every fear, and one by one, try to turn them into a match to your desire. Allow them to feel like ease, like abundance, like love, like every good thing that you could possibly want. Or you can take an easier path, which is simply to switch modes. Because when you shift your mode of being into your deeper self, when you shift from, let's say, the mode of frustration or the mode of noticing limitation, when you switch from another mode into your deeper self, you naturally feel that lift. You naturally feel that joy, that vibrational match with what you want. And the reason for this, my favorite explanation for this actually comes from Abraham Hicks. And Abraham Hicks teaches that as soon as your desire is acknowledged by your deeper self, which he calls your inner being, your deeper self or inner being becomes a match instantly to that desire, a vibrational match to that desire. And so your job is to line up with this. But I am actually saying, instead of trying to get your thoughts to match, just switch modes. Just embody your deeper self. Allow your mind to blend with your deeper self, because what I've noticed is that it's not just the vibrational match that comes into existence. So if we were to do a little partition here, and over here is the mode of your deeper self, it's not just that your vibrational match for your desire is existing over here, but there's a version of you that you can actually tune into and embody. And it's not a higher self, it's not something out of reach, it's actually something right there on the other side if you were to only switch modes and shift focus. Here's a visual representation that might help. So let's say you're standing in gravel. So over here you're crunching gravel in your bare feet. It's kind of painful, it's kind of unpleasant. Maybe it's a little therapeutic if you're into that, right? Maybe you actually slightly enjoy it, but you don't want to be crunching on the gravel for forever. So you can be over here and you can start to meticulously pick up one piece of stone, one rock at a time, and try to remove them off your path to create a smoother path. Or you can just take a step, cross the line, and step into your deeper self. It really is that simple. Once you learn how to access your deeper self, to feel that ever-present awareness and lightly cross over, and it's not a big leap, it's just a little step. You feel that grass underneath your toes. You feel the soft texture of the grass. You can even sit down comfortably. Can can even enjoy the sun, the clouds in the sky. That is the switch I want to invite you to make. And you'll notice immediately when you step over into the greener grass, you'll feel immediately, it feels good. The first thing that happens is you feel good. And as you bask in those good feelings, you'll notice that your thoughts begin to change, that you actually begin to attract new thoughts, because you are actually not your thoughts. You are not your thoughts. Your thoughts are a direct result of your point of attraction. Your thoughts are a direct result of your current mode. If you're in the mode of frustration, you're going to attract frustrating thoughts. You're going to think one frustrating thing and you're just going to keep going. You know, when you get that feeling, right, until you kind of tire yourself out, and even then, you know, give yourself 5 minutes. You can work up a new argument, something that I oughta, right? Something that you could have added to the argument. If you're in the mode of your deeper self, you will notice that the thoughts that you attract are different. Because your deeper self is a vibrational match to your desire, you will attract new thoughts. You'll attract thoughts that you may have never even thought before. You'll attract ideas come to you. They come, I mean, the things that you'll think of, it will be beyond what you can contemplate and receive from over here in the gravel, where you're focused on how painful the gravel is and how much you just want to get out of these pointy, sharp stones. You just want to get away from them. When you're over here, there's a sense of urgency, and the ideas and solutions that you can come up with are limited. They're still a vibrational match to the limitation or the pain or whatever unpleasant, unwanted experience that you're having. But as soon as you step into the green grass and you start to tap into your deeper self, you'll notice that you'll start to attract solutions that even go beyond what you could have imagined. It's like the desire is even bigger than what you previously thought it was. You feel how even more expansive this could be, right? You feel to the highest potential of the desire and not just the quick relief from the pain or the suffering that you may have thought, you were wanting. There is actually so much more to the desire that you can sense on the other side when you are actually tuning into the deeper self. I don't want to say on the other side as though you're crossing over, because this is not a dying, this is actually a coming to life. There are simply things that we cannot sense or access or know in a different mode. There are things that we can feel and sense and know that we actually can't when we are tuned into the deeper self. And so it works both ways. What you're aware of in the gravel is going to be a vibrational match to what you're feeling and sensing over there. And what you're aware of when connected to your deeper self is going to be a vibrational match to your deeper self. Answers to difficult questions you've been contemplating or difficult circumstance will come to you because it's something that you've been asking for, but you don't have to wrestle with your mind to get that answer. Instead, you can simply tune to your deeper self and receive it. It is an easier path. Both paths are valid, don't get me wrong. I have my days where I am thinking really hard about something, and then I remind myself, do I really want to spend time doing this, or do I just want to tune into my deeper self and get the answer? Sometimes it's fun. Sometimes it's fun to, stir up a little tea, something you can discuss with your friends, but more and more, I find that I want to take the easy route. It just feels better. And so if you're ready to stop wrestling with your mind and trying to force yourself to think positively, I have a gift for you. I wish I had let myself off the hook of trying really hard when it comes to changing my thoughts and how I felt about myself, and realizing I don't have to go thought by thought, I don't have to go through painful memory one at a time and try to work them out. That is very useful, and there's a time and a place for that, and I want to discuss that later in some of our future episodes. But when you can, when it's available to you, just tune in. Just tune in. Because all those answers that you're seeking, they're there. When you access and blend with your deeper self, you instantly become a match to your desire. So why take the hard route? So I've created a meditation to help you access the deeper self if this is a practice you'd like to explore and experience for yourself. You'll find it linked below, either in the description for this podcast episode or the caption or description for this video. You can get it at uniquebelle.com/shop. So remember, when we talk about getting in alignment, we're talking about getting in alignment with your deeper self. And from there, sensing your way to your desire. You instantly become a match. All things will flow to you, good ideas, next steps, but just switch modes first. And the practical reason for this is simply because there are things that you can sense and know when you're connected to your deeper self that you simply can't when you're standing in the painful gravel and focused on the aspects of that experience that are unpleasant. They're just things that you can't sense from over there. So switch modes and open up your senses. So go ahead, give the meditation a try. Again, it's available at uniquebelle.com/shop. And I invite you to stick around because episode 3 is already up and you can tune in right now. So go ahead and hit subscribe, leave any comments or questions that you have below, and let's go on ahead into episode 3.